I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
Stronger, and I think he's going to have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
Said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
In anticipation of the explosive showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, Max Kellerman has delivered his final take on the matchup. As part of Netflix's elite broadcast team assembled for this mega boxing spectacle, Kellerman brings his signature sharp analysis and historical perspective to what promises to be one of the sport's most consequential events.
A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. Kellerman isn't holding back. He calls the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford about the most watched championship fight in nearly 50 years. He compares it to the historic Muhammad Ali-Leon Spinks rematch in 1978, which drew an astonishing 90 million television viewers. But with Netflix broadcasting, Kellerman stresses this isn't just another mega fight. It's a complete shift in boxing's reach and business model. Instead of traditional pay-per-view numbers, this platform could multiply viewership, giving boxing its widest global audience in modern history.
But where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the fight?
Yeah, the magnitude, yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. Those are big fights. But this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 3-4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is gonna do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Fight promoter Dana White confirmed in a press conference that Kellerman will return to the commentary booth as part of Netflix's official broadcast team for the September 13th, 2025 showdown. Kellerman, best known for his iconic stints at ESPN and HBO, will join John Onek and Hall of Famer Andre Ward in calling the action live from Allegiant Stadium. This marks a major comeback to televised boxing for Kellerman, who called the fight a perfect storm at a recent press event. He emphasized that both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are among the very best pound-for-pound fighters of this era. In fact, he admitted that Crawford currently has his vote as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, while acknowledging that Canelo held that crown universally until recently. Kellerman underlined how rare it is to see 2 men from boxing's exclusive top 25 to 30 all-time pound-for-pound greats square off against each other.
I'll bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're gonna see. You know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're gonna fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him, and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Timothy Bradley Jr. has his own prediction for fight night. He believes the opening round won't be explosive, but more like a calculated chess match. Bradley expects both fighters to hold back at first, using the early moments to study timing, rhythm, and distance. Crawford has a history of setting patient traps, while Canelo is known for using the first rounds to measure opponents before adapting. Bradley's insight suggests fans should be prepared for a tactical, information-gathering first round that builds tension before the fireworks arrive later in the fight.
Feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like, both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart, he's cerebral. Like, a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on.
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson remains unwavering in his belief that Terence, but Crawford will not only beat Canelo, but could possibly stop him. Stevenson points to Crawford's speed, ring IQ, and ability to switch southpaw as decisive weapons. He's even warned fans that Crawford will cook Canelo, a bold prediction he's been repeating since 2021. For Stevenson, This fight isn't just about competition, it's about proving Crawford's precision and adaptability make him the logical pick to win on boxing's biggest stage.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No, I think that's possible. Like I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud could crack too. So.
Crawford's unanimous decision victory over Israel Madrimov at 154 pounds didn't just add another belt to his collection, it elevated his legacy. By capturing the WBA junior middleweight title in his divisional debut, Crawford became a 4-division world champion. More significantly, he became the first male fighter in the 4-belt era to achieve undisputed status in 2 weight classes, super lightweight and welterweight. The Madrimov fight showed that Crawford's brilliance translates as he climbs the scale, neutralizing a naturally stronger opponent with accuracy, timing, and composure. This wasn't just a win, but proof that Crawford thrives in higher divisions, cementing his reputation as one of boxing's most versatile and dangerous fighters, regardless of weight.
2024. He spent from 2018 until August of 2024, right? 6 years at 147, okay? And he's had 8 fights at 147, all knockouts, and 1 fight at 154, which was a unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov. So you can make a case he's actually a welterweight jumping to 168. But he did make a pit stop at 54 and became a champion. So we have to acknowledge that because that goes into his accomplishment bag. That makes him a 4-division champion. So the concern is Terence Crawford jumping up in weight. This is a weight class that Canelo Alvarez has now been in since 2020. He's been at this weight for 5 years when he made his debut against Caleb Smith. But remind you, he fought against Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019. Then in November of 2019, he jumped to 75 and fought Sergey Kovalev, then came back down to 68. So it's doable, right? But with that said, everybody's concerned with the weight and how Terence Crawford puts on the weight. So let's explain it. As you see the new photos that Terence Crawford has leaked, Terence Crawford has lean bulks, okay? As you see here, Terence Crawford there, right? He has lean bulks, okay? He put the bulk on in his weight, in his legs, and in his shoulders to be able to take the punch.
Trainer Dave Caldwell highlights Crawford's unique style, emphasizing his ability to switch stances seamlessly and use footwork to control distance. According to Caldwell, Crawford's leg movement is one of his most underrated weapons, allowing him to create angles, frustrate opponents, and dictate the rhythm of fights. Against a powerful pressure fighter like Canelo, Caldwell believes these attributes could be the key to success. He explains that if Crawford can maintain mobility and avoid being trapped against the ropes, he has the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and rack up points round after round.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic, his punch picking is fantastic, he's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest, and he loads up. He loads up, and he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. When Crawford gets hit, he does get hit. That's why he's exciting, but he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle.
Meanwhile, Teddy Atlas, the veteran trainer and analyst, comments that Crawford hasn't learned how to lose yet. He highlights Crawford's unwavering mindset and mental fortitude, noting that Crawford blends elite physical tools, speed, defense, adaptability, with an inner resilience and refusal to accept defeat. It's this mental edge, his belief in victory under pressure, that sets him apart. Atlas sees Crawford's confidence and psychological strength as intangible advantages that go beyond physical talent, allowing him to elevate when it matters most. In Atlas's view, these unseen attributes make Crawford not just skilled, but dangerously formidable.
Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo.
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's the
weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it'll be, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can obviously he can punch and he can time you and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that. He'll come up with a game plan where he won't let the other guy use the sight. Do you remember somebody named Manny Pacquiao when he was making his bones, the first time he hit the big stage? He got all these great fighters here. It was with a guy named Oscar De La Hoya, a hell of a fighter. And everyone said, oh, it'd be too small for him. And then I said, I gotta say, I got one right. I said, how about Manny's going to be too fast for him? Oh, Teddy, guys, how about he's going to be too quick? How about he's going to be like a couple of those mosquitoes and gnats at a barbecue and disrupt the whole damn barbecue? How about that? Well, how about Crawford disrupts the whole damn barbecue?
When it comes to Canelo Alvarez, opinions often swing between extremes, either dismissing his legacy by questioning opponent quality or praising him as untouchable without scrutiny. Critics point to safer matchups or catchweight arrangements, but Canelo defends his record by reminding fans that compelling fights require two willing competitors. He insists that many of his opponents step into the ring merely trying to survive, not to win. This, he argues, has sometimes made his dominance look less thrilling than it really is.
It's just a fact. Canelo has fought the who's who, sure. Were all of them in their prime? No. But that's not his fault. He moved up in weight to fight some people. He sought out difficult opponents and matchups. You know, the same way you'd be like, oh, Floyd didn't necessarily fight some of the best names in his resume at the best time in their career. Not his fault. Floyd went up and sought people out. So Canelo's sitting there like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And he's pretty much the only guy that can really say that right.
I feel I'm the best, and that's it. I don't focus on if the people say or put me in the first position, I'm the best. I feel I'm the best. I'm doing it because I love boxing.
I call Canelo out because, like I said, he the last great fighter amongst the era that surpassed us. This is my mega fight. This is my moment.
You didn't have much interest in this Crawford fight. You were saying that there wasn't much in it for you, and you pointed out that people will say that he was too small. What changed?
I think he's one of the best fighters for more fun. No, he accomplished a lot of things too, Mexican with the American fighter is always big.
When he fights you at Allegiant Stadium,
Canelo's like, I knew the money was crazy. That's why he's like, yeah, I knew that the Mexican fighter versus the American fighter. Canelo can draw Allegiant Stadium. That's what it is. I mean, yes, there's the element of greatness involved as well. But Canelo knew he was getting a bag for this. Canelo knew that Terence had to do all the difficult stuff. Let's be honest about it. This is why I favor Canelo.
So, what's your take on this showdown? Do you believe this is the most significant fight of the modern era? And who do you think truly holds the edge, Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation.